Hey guys, today is Monday, May the 26th, and I'm joining you here today. Usually Keenan and I do this together, but I wanted to jump on and just share a little bit as we talk about a difficult subject here. And a question that's been raised quite a bit. We get this slipped on pieces of paper or sent through text or asked in the hallway of us rather frequently, and that is, how do we deal with pornography in our culture? And this is a tough topic, and it's one that we don't talk about a lot. We kind of shy away from it culturally. A few weeks ago, in a message, I mentioned this, and after mentioning it in that message, I had so many guys reach out and say, "Hey, me too. I struggle too." In fact, we know, and I go to high schools and junior highs. I talk to young guys about this rather frequently, and I know from statistics that by the age of 16, 90% of them have seen pornography. Many of them have become addicted already, and so this is a young age we're dealing with. Um, a stat that blows my mind every time we talk about it is that the average age of pornographic exposure in our culture and our nation right now, the average age is about 12 years old. Right? 12 years old. It can be as young as about 8, second grade or so, but 12, 11, 12, somewhere in there is about average for things. Do you know what this means? This means that when we're dealing with the topic of sex, something that God gave us to be beautiful, to create this bond, this union between a male and a female, a husband and a wife. When we talk about sex, when we deal with the topic, what we're doing is we're allowing our culture, a broken world now, not the kingdom of heaven, but a broken world, we're allowing it to begin to disciple us from a young age. And we're leaning into it, and we're learning things that probably are not true. In fact, years ago, I saw a documentary that I will never forget. It sticks in my mind. I tell students about it all the time. A documentary about the making of pornography. And in this documentary, it was a G-rated documentary and all that. But as it started off, there was on the screen, there was a couple, and there was a bed and a blanket over them, and they were having sex or something in the bed there. And as the camera begins to broaden out, and you see how it zooms out, you recognize this is not really a bedroom. This is a stage. There's only a couple walls. It's in a big, giant, dark warehouse, and then there's crowds of people all around. And people's watching all around the place, and there's cameras, there's lights, and all these things are going on. And then the audio begins to open up, and you hear some things. You hear people in the crowd yelling out to stop and cut and retry and do this different, change that, flip these things around, and all these little stuff happening as people are directing this whole experience. They're directing the whole thing. And then they went to the editing room, and in the editing room, you begin to see how all the footage is laid out like this, and they take the footage from here and put it in the beginning, and the beginning to the end. They move the middle around, they delete some, and they take some out, and then they add some lighting effects and some audio effects and all these things over the top of everything that happened right there. Then they produce this, and they upload it, they put it on the internet, and they say, this is what a sexual experience could be like. And so we have people as young as 12 that are now dialing in, opening this up, watching this, and beginning to learn some things, to look at this. But this is not realistic. In a healthy sexual relationship, in a godly sexual relationship, there will never be anybody there to edit, direct, and produce your sex life. This is not true at all. But we watch this and we fall into a trap that catches us. As I've talked to students, I hear this version of the story so often. Now, these are young students now, junior high, high school age. I hear this story play out in some version or another. They start talking about how when they were young, they got an iPhone or an Android or an iPad or something, and they were young, and they began to wonder, because if I can just say it, we don't always do a great job in our culture of talking about this between parents and kids. Right? And so they began to wonder about some things. Their friends talked about stuff. They heard some things. They didn't know what was going on. So they go to the internet and they begin to Google, what is this and what is this and what is this? They do research to find this out. Well, the research leads them to the filmed, edited, produced, and directed pornography that we talked about a moment ago. And so at a young age, they begin to learn that this is what I can expect. This is what I can look forward to. This is what I'm going to experience. And all of those things are unrealistic. They're not true, right? Which then leads to immense dissatisfaction in relationships and frustration. It leads to breakups and divorces, and all these things begin to break down because we had a wrong starting point. We started with the world instead of with what God wants. They've done all kinds of studies. psychological studies on what pornography can do for us. And what we learn is that it's an addiction just like any drug addiction that is out there. And we begin to deal with this and to look at this and to see what happens to our brain as new neural pathways get carved in our brain and new synapses start to fire off, and we begin to think differently. We begin to view other people differently. We begin to see the opposite gender differently. We begin to look at our own bodies, our own selves, our own souls differently. It changes everything. And we go beyond that and we look at what it does to people in their future. And they did a study in the American federal prison system several years ago now, asking men that had been incarcerated for sexual crimes, how did you start? What happened there? And what we find out is that all of them, nearly 100%, said they began with simply watching porn, and then it increased from one thing to another, to another, to another, to another, and eventually they had to try some things, do things on their own, getting themselves in trouble. This is a problem. It's an addiction like any kind of a drug addiction that is out there. And the problem is that we're beginning at young ages to look at these things. If you look at God's plan for us. In fact, I'm reminded of Philippians chapter 4, verse number 8. I'm going to read it to you right here. Philippians 4, verse 8. Paul writes, it says, "Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things." Compare that command, that admonishment, to what pornography does. It is not lovely. It is not true. It is not right. It is not noble. It is not pure. It is not praiseworthy. It is not admirable. It is not lovely. What are we thinking on? What is happening in your brain? What is the enemy saying to you? What is being whispered in the shadows to you? But I don't want to end this video by simply saying what's wrong with pornography. What is the hope we have? Is there hope? Can we reprogram ourselves? And the answer is absolutely yes, you can. Is it easy? No. Is it doable? Yes. And anything worth doing is going to be hard. So if you've been struggling, maybe you want to lean in and start a conversation about this. There are some simple steps you can take. Number one, I said simple, not easy. Number one, you cut off your access to porn. No porn at all. You cut it off. What is your access? If your access is your phone, take drastic measures. Have somebody put passwords in, lock things out. Make your smartphone into a dumb phone. Make it be something you can call and text on, nothing else. Go for it. I know grown men that have done this very thing. All right, go for it. Make sure you cut off access. You ask the question, but if I have somebody help me do that, they'll know. Yes, they have to, because you have to confess it. You have to have accountability and help. So you've got to get somebody to help you along the way. But what if I tell my wife or I tell my friends and it hurts some things? It might get really messy in the process. But you have to ask for help. You have to take drastic steps. You have to cut off your access. You have to stop this. If you want to think on things that are lovely and true and pure and noble, you have to create space for those by getting rid of the things that are evil and junky and messy and dirty and cluttered. You have to put those away so you can make room for what is good. Cut off your access. Get accountability. And you got to have a positive attitude. You got to believe you can do it. You have to believe that the God who created you, the God who made you to be in his image, and the God that sent his son from heaven to earth to die on a cross, he buried in a tomb and to resurrect so you can have life. You have to believe that that God can in fact restore and redeem this part of you as well. It is true, so you believe it. What do you do right now? If you're struggling with this and you're having a hard time right now, what you do is you reach out. You send an email, send a message. My email is adam@goconnect.church. Send a message right now. I don't care if you live in my area or anywhere else. Send a message right now. Let's try to get some help. Let's try to walk together in this. Let's try to have conversations and connect you with somebody that's healthy that can help walk with you so you can get help. So you can begin to live into the ideal, the purpose that you're created for. I hope that helps a little bit. I'll be praying for you. This is an epidemic among our nation. I'll be praying for you that you can find the hope and the restoration that God wants for you so much. Church, until I see you, you are sent.